Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Theresa Payton, cyber expert and the White House's first female CIO. Theresa, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
It's a really important conversation today, and I'm grateful for your expertise. What we're seeing in Southern California is just harrowing and heartbreaking. Multiple fires continue to rage in Southern California. Thousands of acres and homes have been destroyed. Hundreds of thousands of people have either lost power or forced to evacuate. So it's a really scary time, and people want to check in with their friends and family on the West Coast. So to start off the conversation, what is the best way to do that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different things for people to be thinking about. So for those of you who you can't seem to locate your loved ones, my heart and thoughts and prayers go out to you. There are a couple of different things that you can do. One, you can check with the Red Cross. So people are encouraged to check in with the Red Cross. The Red Cross will keep a list so you can tell them you're looking for somebody. Number two, post on social media that you are looking for your loved one. People will help you locate them. Number three, if you have any loved ones and they are on the list, like they haven't evacuated yet, so you're still in touch with them, consider installing a walkie-talkie like app, like Marco Polo, like Zello. What that'll do is something called store and forward. So you can send them a message that you love them and you're supportive of them, and when they can connect to the internet, they can receive it. Likewise, if they're off the internet, they can send a note to you, and then when they're back on the internet, it can go and it can work on Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, internet. So it's a great way to stay connected. The other thing to be thinking about is there's a free version of an app called Life 360, and that will tell you where your loved one is based on where their phone is. So those can be some different ways to find your loved one or stay connected to your loved one.
And let's look at the flip side. Let's say you're still in California, you have yet to evacuate, you're not in an evacuation zone yet, but I mean, the threat is imminent. Or let's say your power, your service is spotty, there's a potential for outages. What's your best course of action to check in with loved ones?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things. One, assume you might not be able to charge your devices. So while you are in a position where you can charge them, not only keep all your devices charged up, but also if you have any old laptops, any old phones, charge those up too, because you can use them as a backup battery in the case of an emergency. Have a go-to plan. So assume you might have spotty access to the internet. Know how to leverage Starlink on your phone. That's going to be made available for free to California residents that are going through this right now. Also get familiar with your phone's features. There's an SOS feature on all iPhones and all Google Droid phones. The best way that I can tell you to kind of get familiar with it without setting off an alarm is you hold down the on-off button along with one of the volume buttons, and it'll show you on that screen SOS, so that way you at least know how to get to it. If you are in an emergency situation, you can actually connect it to the SOS system and send out an alert until help can come get to you.
Hundreds of thousands of people in the Los Angeles area have been ordered to evacuate their homes, and they're forced to leave some of the time with the clothes on their back and a few precious items. And we're already hearing reports of looters in the area taking advantage of this horrific situation. So what ways can people use different cyber tools to ensure that their home is still safe?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, make sure all your flammables are away from things that you don't want to have catch fire. So be thinking about that. Like if you have a outdoor gas grill, set that way far away from your house. Secondly, do some photographs and a video inventory if it is safe to do so. So if you're in a pre-evacuation mode, upload those to the cloud so you have them for insurance purposes. If you do already have camera devices installed for a security system, make sure you know how to use them remotely. And again, make sure those systems are charged up. If they work on the internet though, if they work on electricity though, and don't have backup options, that's going to be problematic, because if the power gets cut, if your internet gets cut, these devices will not work for you. So just make sure you have familiarity with that, and that can also be a great way to keep track of your house. The other thing a lot of people don't realize is Google Maps does have a live satellite feature, and so you could go to Google Maps and kind of keep tabs on your house from the live satellite feature there.
I think the rest of us in the country right now all have our eyes on Southern California. I mean, our hearts are broken, our prayers are with them, but we're also thinking about, I can't even comprehend if this happened to me, if I lost everything or there was a threat of me losing everything in the blink of an eye. And it's making a lot of people want to have a disaster plan, an action plan to say, hey, if this happened to me, this is what I would need. What would, in the perspective of tech and cyber, be on that action plan for you?
An easy way to back up all your files, because assume in that moment you're not going to leave with your computer. You need to leave with your life, with your loved ones and your pets, right? So assume you may not be able to grab all your devices, so have an easy way to just hit a button and have everything back up to the cloud so that you know you've got a backup. Think about, do you have any fireproof safes? So do you have something that if you know you might be on the edge of an evacuation order that you could throw things into so that hopefully the worst won't happen, but if it does, that you've got something in a fireproof box, and a floodproof box for that matter. Also be thinking about, can you set up something called a go away bag where you've got the most important things that are in that bag, so in the event of a natural disaster and you have to get on the run pretty quickly, you can just grab that bag and go. It would be things like backup medications, backup phone numbers, maybe an old school address book with the most important numbers in it. It could be backup batteries and things like that, flashlights, first aid kit, something that is very easy to grab. Maybe it's by the coat closet that you have right by your front door, and that can be a way to have that plan. Also be thinking about, who would you call first? So besides calling 911 or your local fire department, bypassing 911 if the circuits are too busy, who are your key numbers? A lot of people don't memorize phone numbers anymore. You may not have access to your phone, so you either need an old school phone book or you need to start memorizing numbers again, because when you need to contact somebody, how will you reach them if you don't have your smartphone?
That's a lot of good advice, because I haven't remembered anyone's phone number aside from a childhood best friend from when I was 10 and still have the number seared into my brain, and my mom and sisters. So that's great advice. What is, do you think, your number one piece of advice for people who have been caught off guard and are fleeing for their lives now in terms of cyber?
Yeah, I think the best thing that you can do is, once you get to a safe place, make sure your bank knows how to reach you. So, call your banker, make sure they know how to reach you, because you don't want to be a victim of fraud while you're sort of in this in-between space. You want to make sure that from a cyber perspective, you're not easily kind of socially engineered, because sadly, criminals are very bad people, and people who commit cyber crimes and theft, they are looking at people on social media right now saying, I lost everything, I lost my house, and they're cooking up the next social engineering scam. They're going to pretend to be your insurance company. They're going to pretend to be an insurance adjuster. They're going to pretend to be FEMA. I watched this happen to the victims in Western North Carolina that were victims of the hurricane and the storms and the flooding. And I don't want to see this play out again for victims who have gone through the evacuations, the wildfires, who are losing everything. Criminals are bad people, and they never let a crisis go to waste. They are plotting their next social engineering, identity theft, and money stealing adventures for them, and they're going to be preying on you. So just be very wary of unsolicited phone calls to your phone, text messages, emails, people reaching out to you on social media. You need to go to the legitimate sources to seek help. So if you get a call saying this is FEMA, hang up, go to the website for FEMA and look at what they're saying about your situation. Same thing, if somebody says they're the Red Cross, you need to hang up, and so you reach out to them, don't let them reach out to you, because these fraudsters are very creative and very convincing.
It's really disgusting that criminals are preying on the vulnerable here, especially people who have lost everything. But to your point, how do you sift through the resources here? I'm seeing a lot of things on social media. So many people want to help. In these types of situations, you do see the criminals, but you do see the best of humanity. The entire country, it seems, to be coming together, to be wanting to pitch in and help these people. So how, let's say you are affected, find the best resources for you?
Yeah, so I would say you start with your local and then you go to national. So, for example, if you go to fire.ca.gov, there are a lot of official resources out there. That is the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. So, they're going to tell you the map of the fires, they're going to tell you resources, they're going to tell you evacuations, and a lot of good information there. The next place to go if you're looking for help, you've got lacounty.gov/emergency. You also have 1-800 Red Cross. These are groups, again, don't, unsolicited calls to your phone is one thing. If you signed up for subscription services, that is legitimate. If somebody is calling you saying, "Hi, I'm the Red Cross," chances are it's probably not them. So again, you want to call them yourself, 1-800 Red Cross, and that can be a great way to go to a central clearinghouse and say, "I need this kind of help. Can you direct me to the right place?" And that way you will get to the authentic, legitimate place.
You have so many amazing tips, so many things I wouldn't think of, from the old school phone book to having that grab and go bag. Do you think that there's anything missing from this conversation that people in those affected areas need to know?
Yeah, one thing to be thinking about, especially if you haven't evacuated yet, if you've got Tile or Apple AirTags and you have pets, find a way to attach them to your pet's collars. I hope you don't get separated from your pets. Also, if you have small children and other things like that, take those different devices, get them set up, get them on your children's clothes, get them on your pet's clothes, and that can be a great way if for some reason you do get separated in the smoke and the fire and the rescue, that you have a way to sort of regroup and regather and find and locate important things. Same thing like your car keys and other things. Make sure that you have all of these strategically set up so that you can ping them in the event that you have an emergency.
Theresa, these are such great tips to include in the action plan. Thank you so much for your expertise and your insight here. You're welcome back anytime.
Thanks for having me on, and my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody impacted by this or who has a loved one impacted by this. Everybody.